Okay, so we're back with part four of Sundown Town, nightly horror stories told by L.A. Kendrick. And let's get right into it. So, we find our reporter friend, or my reporter friend. We find her finally hooking up with Gabby, and they're going to, he's going to take her to the spots where bodies are being held or they've been mutilated. So he has a bike, and of course she has an electric bike, and she checks her body camera, and she takes a picture of Gabby and sends that to her boyfriend. And she also sets her GPS to the location um, of the hotel that she's staying in, so she can get back in case any funny business happens. And so Gabby says you can trust her, and she lets him know I don't trust anybody, like that, but I appreciate all the help that you're providing. And they're off, but on the way he's letting her know of the severity of what she might encounter or what she will encounter. And he tells her he hopes that she has a really strong stomach. So there are not any people out, like she had been told that there wouldn't be at this time of the night. So it's around 8:30, and they're just riding along, and they're still they're talking. He's explaining to her what he's seen and what this town has been like over the decades. And so when he does that, she a lot of questions go through her mind. Is she going to find her friend's daughter safe and sound? Is she going to find the PI? Is he going to be safe and sound? Is she going to make it out alive? Her thoughts go back to her fiance, and she's wondering in her mind what he's doing. And she noticed that he was driving, and a lot of and he doesn't really drive that that time of the evening after coming back from the dojo. So she has a lot of things going on to in her mind. And Gabby's talking, and then she comes back in because he says a key word that triggers her back. He says we're there. So you can see a huge bonfire going, and you can see about 6 or 7 people dancing and chanting and shouting around the bonfire. But off to the right, there's a building, nice sized building. And Gabby explains to my reporter friend, blogger, and she has on podcast that she does. Again, she doesn't want to be known who she is. She's afraid of the ridicule and things of that nature. And I have seen some pictures, so it's kind of weird. But they're hiding off in the brush, and to make sure that they're not seen. And true enough, no one can see them at this point. So Gabby's explaining to her that they're gonna have to let it die down before they make a move, because you're going to see them dart in and out of the building, and each time they come out of the building, they seem to be covered in blood. And basically, it's not a sacrifice. He said it's more like a ritual of consumption of human flesh and organs, human organs. So they wait. You can see people jumping around, and the more she looks, and she's using her camera, her body camera, she's pointing in the direction of where they're dancing around and doing the ritual. And she doesn't take it off for 1 minute. She's just really stunned, and she's shocked, and it's really frightening because she does recognize that these costumes look incredibly lifelike. And she asks Gabby, well, why do those costumes look so lifelike? And Gabby explains to her, those are not costumes. They go into a trance and a state of being to where they become like ghouls. And she's kind of like, yeah, whatever. And he said, well, you don't have to believe me, but that's what you're seeing right in front of you with your own 2 eyes. So they die down, and they have Gabby, and again, her name is, we're going to go by for the sake of argument and protecting her identity, we're going to say her name is Shanice. They sit down as the bonfire ritual starts to die down, and they just keep watching. until it clears out, until finally there's nobody left. And they ease over to the building. It looks like a barn, but it's look to the building. And when they go in, they end up, it's chained up pretty good, but Gabby, as usual, knows how to get in. So he climbs onto the top of the building, and there's an opening. And what he does, he helps Shanice up the side of the building. And he lets her in. He lowers her down. And because it's not a far jump to the second level of the building, and they just keep coming down, layer to layer. It's only like 2 stories. And when they do, there's a horrible stench and a horrible smell. And she's really shocked and a little bit put off by this at this point. And as she's looking around, you can see people hanging. You can see body parts, hanging by their arms, hanging by their feet, tied up, dismembered, in plastic bags. You can just see it all over the place, and it really smells. You actually have some people that look like they've recently been there. They don't look like they've been there long, and there's some people that look like they've been there for months, and maybe even years from the decay. And then Gabby says, "What did I tell you? I warned you. I told you that this is what was going on here. So do you believe me now?" And she's trying to hold her face, so to keep the smell down. And fortunately, she has a mask, and she puts the mask on, to block some of the smell. And it really doesn't help, but just any little thing at this point in time helps her out. So she asked Gabby, "Do you mind if I take any pictures?" And he was like, "Well, what do you mean, do I mind? You're here to find some truth, and here your truth, and here your evidence is, and I want this stuff brought out," because the local, police department and law enforcement there won't do anything about it. They just turn a blind eye. And he wants some exposure for what was done to his family for generations back and what's being currently done to him. So she's snapping pictures, and she's with her digital camera, and she's doing the whole podcast type of speaking, and she's recording what's happening in real time. And she notices that there's a body that twitches, that's in like a bag, but it's hanging upside down. And when she goes over, the body's, there's a type of sound, like they're trying to say something. And Gabby's like, "Well, let's see who this is." And they actually cut open the face part of the head part where the person is hanging upside down. And lo and behold, it's her best friend's or her friend's daughter. And she looks really hysterical, and she is dirty, and she fits the description in the picture. And they cut her down, they free her. And she's just hysterical, and she's not, they have to calm her down because she starts screaming a little bit, but they calm her down and she stops screaming. And they look to the left of where she is, and there's the reporter friend. And you can clearly see there's a reporter. The PI, my apologies, the PI. And you can clearly see that he fits the description of, the guy that she was going, the PI that she's supposed to be coming to look for, and on top of the fact of searching for her friend's daughter. So she's found both people. But the PI, he's been ripped from shreds. His internal organs have been removed. You can see that he's been bludgeonedly struck in the face over and over repeatedly. So of course he didn't make it. And Gabby's telling her at this time, "We need to go. We need to leave. I've seen too much, and they need to go." And you can see where these people have been fed on as well. So they pack up, and then they hear the chain rustling on the outside of the building. And so they make their way back up to the second level, and Gabby's assisting the ladies and helping them out to get out of the building. And as they do, Shanice is on the top. She makes it to the top with Gabby, and then they have a real tough time helping up her friend's daughter because she's so exhausted, and she's been cut. And you can see she's been cut, and beat, and it's like they're trying to tenderize her body. So she's been beaten, and she doesn't have the strength to pull herself up, but they struggle to get her up. And as they get to the top, everybody makes it to the top, and they're all set on top of the roof. They're looking down at the people, and the building has been surrounded by the ghouls, as Gabby calls them. And they're sniffing the air as if they're trying to find and locate something. Because I believe they know that, from what she's telling me, they know that they're there. So they start sniffing the air, and all of a sudden they look up to the top and they can see him. And my friend gasps. And then they start growling and making all these crazy noises and becoming very aggressive. And I noticed when we were talking, she got really quiet. And again, I was trying to, do as much as I could with the information that she was giving me. And at this point in time, she was really out of it. So she's feeling real, nostalgic about what happened. So she's having flashbacks and she's real shook up about it. And she keeps going for a few more minutes. And that's when she tells us, she said, we really had to find a quick retreat. And they were looking around for options. But as they were doing so, the townspeople, the ghouls, started, those 6 to 8 people started climbing up the side of the building. And that's when she drew her gun. And Gabby said, okay, we may not make it out of here alive, but I'm going to point to the direction of the quickest exit, and then you guys go that way, and I'm going to go this way. But you guys get out and get back to your hotel. And with that being said, they're preparing themselves to fight their way out, and they're going to attack the first thing that comes to the top of the building. So at this point, they've been cornered, but there is an out because Gabby knows how to get out. And with that, I'm going to stop it. So, you guys tell me what you think. Like, comment, and share. Let me know that you guys, if you're appreciating what's happening and the storytelling that I'm doing right now. Again, this is, like I said, this is a friend of mine. She's from Hackensack, New Jersey. I have seen some of the footage, and I've seen some pictures, and some of the stuff is really kind of, really strange and really creepy. So she saw something. Don't know exactly what she saw, but she saw something. So I'm just telling her story, and she's got more. So you guys tell me what you think. Again, this is entertainment as well for you guys, because we know with the COVID thing going on, you really don't have a lot of entertainment that's new and fresh, but here's some new and fresh entertainment for you. If you'd like to donate, my Cash App is $outrage95. It helps with getting the publication for the books that I'm trying to get the next 2 out. Because the COVID, again, has slowed so much down as far as my other business is concerned. It's slowed it down tremendously. So trying to make sure I have that cash to get the books out. But in the meantime, in between time, you guys check your closets. Check under your bed. Check all the dark corners in your house. And if you happen to step outside, check under your cars. Because you never know what's out there lurking in the dark, waiting to make you a story. This has been L.A. Kendrick, bringing you the heavy.